Ladies and gentlemen, now we start the third session of Navigatorship. I want to talk about space, time, and thought first, because these three are the most important in human history. Three fables in the Oriental classical Jangja: a frog in a well, a summer insect, and a narrow minded classical scholar tell that a change in space, time, and thought will change their lives. At the entrance to the Guggenheim Museum in Venice, Italy, there is a phrase of changing place, changing time, changing thought, changing future. The frog in the well trapped in a space called a well cannot talk about the sea. Summer bugs trapped in the time of summer cannot understand ice. Narrow minded classical scholar cannot understand the way of the world because he is trapped in his stubbornness. Now we have to learn how to design our lives by connecting them to the future because we have to live in a hyper-connected society in which space, time, and thought interact. The answer lies in here, now in my thoughts. It has been 15 years since Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, the killer application which transformed the great stream of human history. If the cognitive revolution 70,000 years ago was the dawn of human history, the iPhone that was born in 2007 changed everything in the world as Steve Jobs predicted. Even human history was divided into before iPhone, meaning the age before the iPhone, and after iPhone, meaning the age after the iPhone. Through the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, the scientific revolution, the industrial revolution, and the knowledge information revolution, we are now entering the era of mobile hyper-connected revolution. When the world changes, we have to change ourselves according to the flow of the world. But because of the genetic DNA of the past, we are being pushed to the periphery in the vortex of history. I have asked questions to the audience while lecturing. Do you have a life design? Most of the time, the answer was what is it? Or I heard it for the first time. Then, why do you live? What is your dream? There have been a lot of answers like I do not know, or I did not think. There is also an abstract answer. To be happy, to be successful, and to live well. And then I asked, what is happiness? What is success? What is good living? They replied, just relax, tilde, just make a lot of money. Finally, I asked, are you happy now? Or are you successful? And then they said without confidence, I did not think of it deeply. Why don't people feel happy? Why don't people feel successful? There would be various analyses and solutions. It may be because happiness and success has been searched from afar, even though it is in, now, here in thought. It may be also because of blaming the world and waiting for someone else's excuse. It may not be my life, but someone else's. People say politicians are the problem, and politicians say people are the problem. Parents blame their children and the children blame their parents. Managers blame employees, employees blame managers. Everything is due to the others. It's my life, but I'm talking about others. Furthermore, we do not think deeply about things such as life, death, happiness, success, work. You only study well. You only get a perfect score. Go to a good university. You only get a good job. They have heard the devil's orders. It is a world dominated by selfishness, and everybody knows just herself or himself, and materialism, where money is the best. We did not teach how to live a meaningful life, and we did not have a chance to learn it ourselves. The basics of the exercise are the Navigatorship program. It is a precious guest who comes to you after the process of repeating learning, training, and practices a happy success as being a craftsman in a field where we have to practice 10,000 hours intensely. Everyone wants to live a happy and successful life, but we did not have a chance to learn how to do it and did not practice. Happiness, success, and dreams do not send invitations. We have to find and make it ourselves. As the title of today's lecture says, Navigatorship program is the one to help you be a main character and make a scenario of your own drama and start your new life navigation by yourself. Close your eyes. Then raise your right hand and using your index finger, point in the direction of north. Open your eyes. Does everybody point in the same direction? No, different directions. In this kind of situation, if you have a compass, you can point the exact north. Even in your life, you need such a compass. Navigatorship is a program with roles of a map, a compass, a lighthouse, navigation, and GPS. Navigatorship is a terminology made to supplement leadership. The leadership is to foster leaders and let them influence and lead other people. However, the world changed a lot. Instead, who is leading somebody else or led by somebody else, one has to live one's own life self-reliantly. To do so, it is important that one has to draw one's own life blueprint and make an execution plan. Navigatorship is a program to draw such a blueprint and execution plan fit for oneself. Therefore, navigatorship helps people find a road to success, helping them develop the best life. Navigatorship is a compound word of navigator and ship, which means a navigator who is navigating with a key of a ship of life. Navigatorship means principles, virtues, and execution methods to find a direction of one's own life, grow with other people, and devote to the organization and the society. Navigatorship consists of 8 virtues or keywords to be found and strengthened by one's learning and efforts on top of one's own innate characteristics given to human beings. Even though 25 hours is not enough time to finalize your life design, let's start the new life navigation while you think about the scenario whose main character is yourself. Navigatorship consists of 4 procedures. Navigatorship as a source of terminology is navigator designing and navigating by yourself. Instead, you waste your time with living the other's life. It has an intention that you should live your own life you would like to live. A navigator defining the destiny, finding starting point and selecting courses to the destination of your life by yourself. How beautiful the navigation would be. Program is as below. First, an introduction session centered in orientation, group activity, and navigatorship introduction. Second, navigatorship quotient session to judge where you are now. Third, a coaching session to define a destination of a dream and make execution methods to reach the destination. Fourth, your navigatorship design session to draw a blueprint of your own life. If we define it in 4D, dream, design, do, and devote. Black small square dream is to search my strengths and find my dream in my mind and heart. Black small square design is to understand my current status through navigatorship quotient and draw my future. Black small square do is to search things I could do well and achieve, and act myself devote is to realize my dream, and make my happiness and success, and my life meaningful to my organization and society. Define the goal of your own life by yourself. Plan details to accomplish the goal, and do your best continuously with passion by yourself. You are not going alone, but have to go with other people and organizations while influencing them favorably. Personality is an individual characteristic shown in the attitude and the behavior pattern toward people and job, which influences a person's action and makes a habit and decides their fate. William James, professor, Harvard University, and a famous educator said, "If you plant a seed of personality, you will harvest fate." If you have a good personality, any ordeal, hardship, and obstacle cannot be a roadblock to success. The first step to realize ego and lead your life to success is to foster personality. I would like to explain to you the characteristics of navigatorship. First, it is a program to draw life blueprint. Second, it is for one's own creative management. Third, it has navigatorship quotient. Fourth, it has been branded by inherent and creative terms supplementing the current leadership or the self-leadership. Fifth, it has included essentials of life by combining the Oriental community spirit into the Western individualism. Self-exploration, self-communication, self-renovation, life design plan for practice. The smartphone, which started with the iPhone, changed our society revolutionarily. We are facing a society of job nomads because we can work anywhere in the world with mobile appliances owing to mobile office, 24-hour working society. We have to be a self-creative manager, one-man CEO to survive in such a changing maelstrom. And brand yourself and be a navigator yourself. You would be one-man CEO who could be wiped out if you cannot develop your own brand by differentiating yourself from other people. You have to decide everything yourself and develop your own life course. You have to deliver a spirit of independence, self-determination and self-containedness to your group or organization. If a chick comes out by breaking an egg, it will have a beautiful life, but if somebody else breaks the egg, then it will just be a fried egg. An honor student is not automatically an honor person in society. In case somebody gets a good grade and enters a good school owing to his or her parents, it could be a house of cards. Flowering plants in a greenhouse cannot survive in hard freezes outside of the greenhouse. Society is neither a school nor a greenhouse. Therefore, you have to make your own differentiated brand. You have to find something just for yourself in any area. Then your name will get into papers and be the talk of the town. It is the reason why you have to keep developing yourself continuously even after you graduate from the school. That a compound word of salary man and student, Saladent is popular nowadays reflects the flow of the age. You need positive self-management by preparing for the future regardless of your age and educational background to follow the rapidly changing age. Unless you prepare something using your spare time, the gap between a well-prepared person and yourself not prepared in 5 years or 10 years later will be very big. Dream of a navigator is not obtained easily. A Newsweekly in Korea did a survey for 100 top management executives in Korea. 94% of them replied that employees who are positive in self-development are good at their job as well. They said that they spend on average about 5 hours a week on self-development. Self-development of the employees will be a driving force for corporate competitiveness. Therefore, many companies support making an environment to increase individual competence in many ways. To be a one-man CEO, you need to be a specialist in your field, but you should not be conceited. If a specialist does not have personality, nobody admits him or her as a specialist. Only talented people with consideration for other people are qualified for a successful navigator. Victor Hansen, an author, said that the power of affirmation is a source of self-development as a leader. To show good results from self-development combined with an individual's potential, the individual's efforts and execution for the result is important. Change of life is not generated from others' favorite sayings but from sufficient consideration about myself and deep introspection and then execution of the result. To be a specialist, you need to believe in and like yourself. You have to hypnotize yourself with such comments as, I am such a great guy. Or, I can do anything well. Rather than such suspicion as, why am I this much bad? If a person with car sickness drives a car himself or herself, he or she does not feel car sickness. Life is just the same. If you drive your life yourself, then you will not feel car sickness even on a falling and rising curve road.